NA opposition members move to join government. Discussion on issues surrounding COVID-19. And health hazards for police personnel and their families.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Thursday's news. The opposition faction of the National Alliance Party has joined the Marape Basil government. Party leader Patrick Praj, in a media conference today, says the move is for stability to allow the Marape-led government to complete its term before the 2022 general elections. The National Alliance Party had two factions of its members during last November's vote of no confidence against Prime Minister James Marape.
Flanked by the government faction of the National Alliance Party members, party leader Patrick Pride says the party is intact after last November's vote of no confidence.
As of today, we are moving to the government of Prime Minister James Marape.
Pride, along with a majority of the NA members, broke away from the Marape-led government last year after disagreements over the closure of the Pogera mine and other key policies within the government. Last week, the government announced it will work with Barrack to reopen Pogera.
As a party who is a supporter of foreign investment, we welcome that decision.
Moreover, Pride says the move is about stability within the Marape Basil government as it looks to complete its final term in office before the 2022 general elections.
We want to support Prime Minister Marape going into the general election and making sure that the remainder of his term is stabilized going forward.
Pride also withdrew his nomination as the alternate Prime Minister if a vote of no confidence was to be entertained in this month's Parliament sitting.
We'll be sending a letter to the Speaker of National Parliament this afternoon to officially withdraw my nominee as the opposition alternate Prime Minister in the vote of no confidence motion that is with the Speaker at the moment.
The total number of NA members in government is 11. Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
And opposition leader Belda Nama has welcomed the decision by National Alliance Party leader Patrick Praj to withdraw his name as the opposition's candidate for the post of Prime Minister in a motion of vote of no confidence that is already before Parliament. In a statement released this afternoon, the opposition leader said the opposition will name a new candidate to replace Mr. Praj. It will then be up to the Parliament to deliberate on and deal with the motion. Nama said the motion is live and must be dealt with by members of Parliament in the coming sitting of Parliament. The opposition leader alluded the need for a vote of no confidence on the crippling economy and its long-term effects. He said all members of Parliament have a duty to correct this trend before it is too late. The opposition leader concluded that as a responsible opposition, they will push through the motion of vote of no confidence and the court case on the motion of vote of no confidence and constitutionality of the 2021 budget. Experts from the medical field and the student body of the University of Papua New Guinea yesterday participated in a panel discussion surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic with the theme Inform, Educate and Empower. The panel discussion aimed to clarify some misinformation circulating on social media. It also allowed people to make informed decisions about COVID-19 and the AstraZeneca vaccine.
The panel discussion was facilitated by the Student Representative Council of UPNG. Medical experts and the student body all participated to discuss issues surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. The panelists on this discussion include Dr. Sam Yokupua, Dr. Samuel Maima, Dr. Moses Laman, Professor John Vince, and Professor Glenn Moller, who joined via Zoom in Australia. The discussion focused on the clinical aspect of COVID-19, how COVID-19 tests are done, and the AstraZeneca vaccine and its side effects.
We have a responsibility to the general public and Papua New Guineans to help inform so that people know what is going on in the country. The questions surrounding the vaccine and the virus itself or its management should be welcomed by authorities.
This is the first public discussion since the outbreak of coronavirus in the country last year. It is aimed at educating the people and help them make informed decisions about COVID-19 and the AstraZeneca vaccine. Its speaker gave their view of the virus and how it is affecting the people. Chief Physician Dr. Sam Yokupua and Professor Glenn Moller based their discussions on the clinical aspect of the virus, and that includes how patients are treated.
Treatment, the new treatment guideline will be has been already finalized last week, and this week is in the treating process and to be electronically distributed. We are using zinc, zinc supplements. We're using azithromycin.
Virologist Dr. Samuel Maima was critical on how COVID-19 tests are done. He says more testing must be done for better evaluation. Dr. Moses Laman from the Institute of Medical Research spoke of how critical the virus is.
With the tests that have been done, we have to validate by additional tests. And with the PCR tests have been done, the amplified the product has to be gone to further verification test by doing DNA sequencing.
I'm of the view that coronavirus is a very serious infection, and the only way to prevent it is through the establishment of and practice of the public health measures.
On the AstraZeneca vaccine being rolled out in the country, the speakers were supportive of the vaccine. They further explained the type of vaccines being developed and the side effects. Professor John Vince says vaccination will help save many lives.
We need a vaccine to prevent people from getting sick themselves and to prevent people from spreading it around the community. That's why we need a vaccine. I'd like to make a plea that when we're talking about vaccines, we stick with fact and not with opinions. And you don't get facts from Facebook, ladies and gentlemen.
The panelists say with the increase in the number of COVID-19 cases and the increasing number of deaths, it is affecting the country's health system, and it is better to be safe and not to be sick. Rayon Lakingu National, EMTV News.
NCD Governor Paus Pakop today addressed speculation surrounding the vaccine rollout in the country. The governor received the vaccine 2 weeks ago and says he is not suffering from any side effects and encouraged the public to take the vaccine.
NCD Governor Paus Pakop says people should not be afraid to take the AstraZeneca vaccine because there are no threatening side effects of the vaccine.
Me trust him, this vaccine. Because it comes from a scientific community or countries where they've proven themselves in science, in technology, in innovation. Me like as Governor Blumi, appeal all people Blumi. A vaccine is optional, but I'm stable albimu. Na mix impinish, na mistable right.
Governor Pakop re-emphasized on the set COVID-19 measures and was pleased to see that at least people are adhering to the protocols by masking up, sanitizing, and practicing social distancing. Authorities have set up tents around the city to ensure that protocols are followed.
And our state agency, the police, the Road Transport Authority, NCD Provincial Health Authority, together with the Port Moresby General Hospital, which is a national institution, we are working very hard. We are working together. We are doing all we can to reach out to our people so that our people can do their part to help us to reduce the impact on especially the transmission of COVID-19.
Amplify the message of wearing the mask, social distancing, and the normal COVID-19 protocols. So we just want to emphasize that and enforce that.
NCD Governor says some businesses and markets in the nation's capital are closed, which means people will be out of jobs and income reduced, making it difficult to support families in the city. However, he urged city residents to follow COVID-19 protocols to stop the spread of the virus.
It's inundating our country already, affecting the economy. School children are not going to school. Businesses are closing. Unless we reduce the transmission, we cannot get the business and the economy back to normal again and start growing.
Gertrude Gabin, National EMTV News.
Madang Provincial Health Authority Nursing Services Acting Manager says 80% of the province's frontline workers are aging workforce and approaching retirement. Josephine Maiwa said the new triage on outpatients now staged outside of the hospital need young health officers to respond to COVID-19 cases. Maiwa has recruited 20 health workers as casuals to assist during this time.
Nursing Services Acting Manager Josephine Maiwa says 80% of the workforce are at the age of 60 or above. She says the nursing manpower is critical at this time when there is a need for more healthcare workers to respond to COVID-19 patients.
In relation to our response to COVID-19, with nursing perspective in the hospital, I have 80% of my nursing workforce are at the age of 60, which I cannot fully utilize to respond to this COVID-19. Therefore, I've done some casual recruitment, and I've recruited, most of them are young nursing workforce, but it's only 20. I needed more, because when my nurses in the wards are infected and they need to quarantine for 14 days, my shift roster will be affected.
The Director of Nursing Services plus us at the clinical team. All got this line on work on front line now. I'm all got age category below. I'm 35, 38 now come down. Never one of them are much more above the ages of 38. And also too, we do screening, checking. No all got some underlying disease. So the most of the ones they were putting up at front line now are mostly healthy and they are young and energetic. They need like to come and help him work this screening processes and surveillance.
The 20 healthcare workers that have been recruited will be working at the hospital's new setup outside of the hospital, where all the outpatient triaging and screening is staged. Provincial Emergency Physician Dr. Jude Gawi says 2 officers will man the gate to make sure all users follow COVID-19 preventative measures before accessing the triage center.
There will be 2 officers manning the gate. There will be a security guard. Plus, there will be an officer of the housekeeping.
He says patients who require hospitalization will be screened and directly sent to the outpatient or the emergency department. He said once nurses treat patients' symptoms, they will be put into an isolation ward that will be created. The ward will house patients with moderate to severe symptoms to be looked after for the next 14 days until they are cleared and released into the community.
The emergency department also has staffs working there, which they are wearing their full PPEs. They are also ensuring the temperature checks are being done, but everything will be screened over here.
This white tent will serve as a secondary screening area for people who do not meet the COVID-19 criteria test and those with other common outpatient diseases. The new setup was to avoid any outpatient cases to go into the hospital area. Vehicles will be checked and only the patient, guardian and the driver will be allowed into the hospital. The emergency department will only respond to very severe or life-threatening cases. COVID-19 screening and testing are available at the Provincial Hospital, Divine Word University, Alex Hafen and Yagam Lutheran Hospital. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
Over 50 patients from 7 villages in Snow Pass, rural Bundi in Madang had the opportunity to access basic health services through a 2-day rural community clinic. For these patients, accessing health services is a struggle, being from one of the most rural areas bordering Madang and Chimbu provinces. While conducting this community clinic, the medical team diagnosed 2 patients suffering from TB who had to be transported to the Gambog and Denglagu health centers in Chimbu for further treatment. This rural community clinic is run by a community-based organization, the Kumura Foundation, supported by the Sir Brian Bell Foundation and medical volunteers as well. While much of the attention in health is shifting to COVID-19, the rural population continue to face the brunt of long neglected rural health services. Lay MP and Minister for Lands John Rosso said the COVID-19 isolation centre at Lay's NKW Group company base at the 11 Mile area was paid by taxpayers' money and should be used by the people of Lay and Morobe. This follows comments made by the Morobe Provincial Health Authority CEO Dr. Kipas Binga that the isolation centre would be used by the NKW staff only as per the current arrangement. The isolation facility was set up in Lay in March last year to isolate suspected persons of interest or people found positive with the coronavirus until they fully recover. The facility contains more than 60 fully kitted self-isolation cabinets at a cost of 9 million kina. Meanwhile, the facility is yet to be used by the public.
There's a 140-room facility up there, and that was paid by taxpayers' money, and it should be open to the public, whoever is referred to there by the health medical experts in Morobe. So I will get to the bottom of it when I talk to the CEO for Angau and the Morobe Health Authority chairman sometime this week. But to my understanding, the facility should be open to the public.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more of the day stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. 5 police barracks in Western Highlands province are run down and in need of major renovations. It is a health hazard for the police personnel and their families who are using ablution blocks that are spewing out waste due to the appalling condition. No maintenance work has been carried out in the last 5 years. MTV News today visited Kimininga and Ella Police Barracks in Mount Hagen. We warn viewers that some images in this story may be disturbing.
It is an eyesore and a health hazard for the police and their families, especially those living at the Kimininga and Ella Police Barracks in Mount Hagen. Just in front of these children and their mothers, waste can be seen spilling out of the toilets and bathrooms, debris piling up and overgrown bushes covering the area around the clogged ablution blocks. The police and their families are forced to build makeshift open pit toilets to defecate.
This is one of our barracks in Kimininga Barracks. It's a single quarters, double story. It's completely run down. The toilet is blocked. And it goes to another one up there, and the other one at the back here too. And it's unhygienic for policemen and women to sleep and work. You see, every day they come to duty with wearing good uniforms. But when they come back to this house. And
These are the 3 single quarters at Kimininga Police Barracks, which were supposed to house single police personnel. However, due to housing shortages, couples are bunking up in one room with their children. This is not the only appalling state of a police barracks. At several other locations, the story is the same. Ella, St. Paul's, Gomis and Warakum Dog Unit barracks were built more than 30 years ago and have never been renovated. Western Highlands Provincial Police Commander Jacob Kamiak said this, however, hasn't stopped his men and women from performing their duties.
There's no place to wash the clothes. Everything is run down. So in one of these rooms, a policeman is what? And 3 to 4 kids. Where can they cook? They connect power inside and they cook inside the room too. That's the situation we have at the moment.
Families of the police personnel told MTV News that it is a nightmare they face every day living in these awful conditions. Feces from the toilets upstairs are directly flushed to the downstairs toilets and then swept into the nearby rooms. The smell is unbearable, but these families have no way to go but to live with it.
They have to sacrifice themselves. If we are going to close this barracks, who's going to look after this city? Nobody. These are the only people they look after the city.
And with COVID-19 on the rise, these children and mothers are exposed to inhuman conditions that can easily contribute to community transmission. Vasanata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Civil Aviation Minister Seki Agisa this afternoon did an inspection on the Nadzab redevelopment project. The purpose of the inspection was to see the progress of the 692 million kina project. Construction of the foundation of the terminal building has begun, with the materials being shipped in from Turkey, Vietnam and Japan. The Japanese developer Dai Nippon joint venture has been continuing construction despite the COVID lockdown. According to the developer, all materials needed to continue the rest of the construction will be shipped in by October this year. This is the minister's first visit to the redevelopment project site. Landowners from the affected Porgera River and other affected landowners have expressed concern that they have not been consulted before inviting Barrick back to Porgera. They have lodged various complaints against Barrick on environmental fraud, socio-economic and environmental damage. They say the government is yet to address these issues. However, the government has allowed for the reopening of Porgera with Barrick as its developer.
But now we are surprised that the government has decided to bring back Barrick without consulting us. Why the government am kissing Barrick come back when the same government am allowing Barrick long operate the program? It was because of people affected landowners. I'm crying from people now, I'm losing Barrick. But without consulting us, the government has brought back Barrick, which we are confused now, people are concerned.
Now, the press release, if Barrick agree to terms conditions of government, now I'm like, come, you must deal with them. LMB pass them, you enter in program. All man amas la population injalo hela injalo Pogara injalo Enga province injalo Western province you bagara mi finish lo 30 years mi bla saba.
National Superannuation Fund (NAS Fund) has welcomed the announcement by government on the impending and much anticipated reopening of the Porgera gold mine in Enga province. In acknowledging this development, NAS Fund CEO Ian Taratia says the decision by government to work together with former Porgera developer Barrick New Guinea Limited is one that bodes well for the future of the mine and its employees. Leading up to the announcement earlier this week, the business community in the country had anticipated over the first quarter of the year for the announcement to be made at the earliest to boost investor confidence.
Following a COVID-19 ravaged year 2020 business year that had adverse effects on the PNG economy, the business community in the country was highly anticipating major resource projects to be given the go-ahead or be reopened at the earliest, as in the case of the Porgera gold mine in Enga province. Bank South Pacific CEO Robin Fleming spoke with concern over this at the beginning of this year.
2020 we experienced a number of factors which influenced the economic activity and the number of people in full-time employment. We had the COVID, which did see some businesses have to realign and restructure their workforce to meet lower demand and lower profitability. The cessation of work at Porgera also resulted in about 2,800 people losing their employment directly, and no doubt there are other people who lost their jobs.
Soon after, Prime Minister James Marape provided some hope during his speech at the Back to Business breakfast, signalling to make major announcements on key resource projects in the weeks that were to follow.
The 10 billion lost would be made up of fully, and we should easily go past 100 billion in the economy in the next 3, 4, 5 years as a nation celebrates 50 years of independence in 2025.
A sigh of relief was taken among the business community as the Papua LNG project was given the go-ahead not long after the Prime Minister's statement. However, the Porgera mine reopening has taken a while due to the prolonged negotiation process, with the Marape government aiming to get a fair deal for landowners. Prime Minister Marape finally announced last Sunday that the government is poised to sign an agreement with Barrick Gold for reopening of the Porgera gold mine 12 months after its closure last April over rejection of renewing the mining lease by the state. In announcing the breakthrough in negotiations by the state and Barrick, PM Marape said Papua New Guinea would receive a far superior deal than the 31 years from 1989 to 2021. In acknowledging the government's announcement, Nesfund CEO Ian Tarutia said today that following the closure of Porgera mine in April 2020, many direct employees and contractors have been hard hit, with the fund playing its part in providing relief through unemployment benefit payments for eligible members. Mr. Tarutia said whilst Nesfund continues to support its members through service offering, it also reminds its members that superannuation should only be utilized when they retire, not whilst they are still within the age of active employment. Against the backdrop of limited high-impact economic activity, CEO Tarutia says this announcement by government is welcomed as it will boost investor confidence in PNG's economy, but more importantly provide jobs for many, most of whom are Nesfund members. Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the Nesfund market report, the Kina opened unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.2775 $0.3598 Australian dollars, $0.3919 New Zealand dollars, and 29.86 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee and cocoa closed lower, and copper closed higher. Palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading higher.
Tukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Oceania Fight Promotions have been hosting bouts with boxers from overseas and have opened doors for PNG professional boxers to fight for world title belts. The promotion is investing big to host international bouts and are hoping PNG pro boxers can capitalize and win big on home soil. The challenge to win was issued to PNG lightweight champion Junior Kaukoraka.
It is not easy for promotions to organize international bouts with a lot of money pumped in to bring in professional boxers from overseas for a showcase of professional boxing. Oceania Fight Promotions have been hosting international bouts with boxers from Philippines, Indonesia and Australia featuring in the past years, with the hope of PNG professional boxers gaining a shot at a world title bout. Junior Kaukoraka has been consistent with 9 pro bouts and only 1 technical draw, with the rest all wins with 8 knockouts. He will be facing a top seasoned boxer from the Philippines, Roldan Aldea, for the World Boxing Association WBA Asia Super Featherweight title. Marian Millie, Oceania Fight Promotions Managing Director, says the promotion wants a big win from their investment.
Make sure that you do your best. I want a PNG boxer to be a champion this time, so that Oceania Fight Promotion and sponsors don't waste their money in preparation of this fight. We got nothing. I want to challenge Raka. It's a big challenge for you. I want you to win this fight so we have something in the country.
Junior Kaukoraka says he has been training since last year, but he is in need of more contact, especially sparring partners.
Something sparring. Minuat nanti sparring partner Tumas. Minuat nanti sparring partner Tumas. But so far, preparation I'm go right straight. Me feeling good lo. Some side lo train me go light. Silakan. We look forward to game here.
The international bout scheduled for April 25, 2021 is a big one, and Oceania Fight Promotions patron Ben Micah says that if Junior Kaukoraka wins, he will be challenged by professional boxers across Asia.
Like if he wins this one, then he will be challenged from Russia to Indonesia, Philippines, even in PNG. He'll be challenged for that belt. Thailand, Vietnam, they've got very good fighters in this rank. And in Russia, Mongolia, all those countries he will now be, if he wins this, he'll be the man they want to destroy and defeat.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
Junior Kaukoraka will take on Roldan Aldea of the Philippines for the vacant World Boxing Association Asia Super Featherweight title. Raka had signed his contract on Tuesday and Roldan signed his previously. With the fight scheduled for the 25th of this month, Aldea and his team will arrive on Saturday but will be under strict COVID-19 restrictions. He will be allowed to train but in isolation in 14 days of quarantine.
Arriving here on the 10th, Saturday, 5 a.m. Because due to COVID-19 restriction, we are not allowed to go to the airport. Only one staff of OFP will be appointed to receive them at the airport, but not direct talking or what. We'll just do accents, show the card and take them to the bus. We won't be handling any of their luggages. They will take it themselves. And we'll bring them straight here. They are not going to the reception. They'll just come get their room keys and they will go straight to their rooms. Apart from their trainings, they can do their trainings on the corridor or in their rooms. No aircon, windows will be open. Since we have to strictly follow the COVID-19 protocols, these are the measures that must be applied. So they'll be in the quarantine for 14 days.
And then on Trukai Sports, the weather details after the break.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Cloudy with patchy rain showers and drizzles in Port Moresby and Popondetta. Rain showers and possible thunderstorms easing to cloudy periods in Daru and Alutau. And cloudy with rain showers and possible thunderstorms in Kirima. In the Mamasa region, cloudy with occasional rain showers in Ley and Wewak. Patchy rain showers and drizzles, then cloudy periods in Midang and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy periods with occasional rain showers and drizzles in Lorengau and Kavieng. Occasional rain showers, then cloudy weather in Kokopo and Rabaul. Cloudy with some rain showers and possible thunderstorms in Kimbe, and rain showers and thunderstorms easing to cloudy periods in Buka. And in the Highlands region, rain showers with drizzles, then morning fog right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kondia, Wamendi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for today, Thursday, the 8th of April, 2021. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.